Alexa, what is the temperature in Torres Del Paine, Chile?
Right now in Torres Del Paine, Chile, it's 3 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Today's forecast has snow flurries, with a high of 6 degrees and a low of 0 degrees.
In October 2017, I took a 7-day hike to Chile, Patagonia, and here's a little clip that I've made. But first, the journey begins in New York City, where I had to take a 12-hour flight to Santiago, Chile for an eventual layover. Getting out of New York City was a mini adventure by itself, navigating the subways and buses to LaGuardia Airport before a rather uneventful plane ride as I transitioned out of an urban concrete jungle and slowly into the remote wilderness and beautiful landscape. Well, maybe not just yet, because the transit journey took a really long time. Over the next day or so, I'll find myself in buses, airports, taking in lousy airplane meals, and more bus rides just to find my way to the southern tip of Chile. Here I am at a layover, going through my plan, having a cup of coffee, waiting for my next plane. Eventually, a final flight to Punta Arenas, spending a night there in the town, before a last 4-hour bus ride north to Puerto Natales. The town of Puerto Natales itself was already very pretty, and I had one last night of a hot shower, good internet connectivity, and civilization before I readied myself to join my trekking group. Here was a chance to take a deep breath, take a good night's rest, and be ready for an adventure. Day 1, we woke up at 7 AM for an early start and headed into Torres Del Paine National Park. Along the drive, we saw some wildlife like guanacos and even a pair of condors, flying majestically in the distance. The day's plan was simple, a 20-kilometer round trip without our main packs to see the iconic Los Torres. The weather indeed changes dramatically in the park. We started the trek with great sunny weather, but it quickly turned foggy, cold, windy, and wet, especially right when we arrived at the Torres. We waited about 15 to 20 minutes, hoping for the weather to clear up a little, to get a clearer view of the Torres, but it did not. Nonetheless, standing by the glacial lake and surrounded by towering rock structures was surreal and a very humbling experience. The beauty of the park is really hard to put into words, and today was just the first day. We returned to camp, had an amazing meal, and ended the evening with wine, pisco sour, and music. It's been years since I last pitched or stayed in a tent. During this season, the night temperatures were at or around 4 to minus 6 degrees Celsius, and I thought I wouldn't sleep well. But with all that walking exertion through the day, I actually slept extremely well each night and discovered the wonders of thermal rest. Never sleep on the cold, hard floor. Day 2 was a transition day from Los Torres campsite to Camp Cerron. Our first day with a full load, and being a little inexperienced, I definitely carried a bunch of unnecessary items, so my pack was probably at around 12 kilograms. Thankfully though, I made the best purchase ever with my Gregory Baltoro 75. It was a little expensive for a backpack, but it really made a difference. Oh, and always bring and use hiking poles. And with that, day 2 done. This was easy, right? I could totally do this all day. Day 3. Ice, hail, wind and snow. This was a harsh day from Cerron to Refugio Dixon. We had set off at 9:30 in the morning, only to arrive by 4:40 p.m. that same evening. It was an 18-kilometer day through the northeast side of the Mastiff around what was called the Windy Valley. The weather wasn't great and the group was muted for most of the day. While there were brief moments of sunlight that shone through, those were few and far between. Times like this, it really makes you appreciate the simple things you usually take for granted. Deciding on having the right equipment and gear is critical on such treks. I thought a lot about what I had packed. In short, if I didn't have use for it, it's an unessential and extra dead weight that slows me down. It made me think, when I'm back home, how much does one actually really need? How could you simplify your life, and how much junk do we all carry, both physical, mental, or emotional, that wears us down unnecessarily? What does it actually mean to lead a simple yet effective life? All day I was pretty much absorbed in my own inner thoughts as I went through the bad weather and headed for camp.
Mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day to find our...
After a few swampy last kilometers, Refugio Dixon emerged like an emerald shining at the end of the horizon. Our guide Mauricio had cooked up one of the most amazing Mountain lentil soups and rice for dinner. A hot soup was exactly what I needed. We had 3 more days to go. Let's hang in there. Day 4. What a beautiful day. The sun was out with a light breeze, and a good part of the trail was spent walking through the most forested part of the park, shielding us from most of the elements. Maybe it was the trail, the weather, or a more seasoned body, but I really enjoyed this section today. The views were amazing with the clear weather, and the route was mostly switchback and gentle valleys, curving around the river that gave off those sweet ASMR sounds and soothing negative vibes. Towards the end of the trail, the massive Los Perros Glacier emerged from the foliage, and it was beautiful. We hiked over a ridge, and it rolls on through the horizon. A feeling of awe sweeps through you, and was certainly a moment not to forget. It's only the 4th day, but it has felt unreal, as if I was walking through a planet I can't recognize, and I'm truly lost in the beauty of the woods. Little did I know there was more to come the next day.
This is day 4 of 7 of the hike to Torres Del Paine, or Paine. We are at Los Perros campsite. It's really beautiful. We're able to see like the hanging glaciers just like about a 10-minute walk from here before we came to camp. It's great that the rangers are here. They let us open up the bathrooms and had a quick wash of my face and my hair, so it feels really good. We have 2 more days left. Tomorrow's day 5. We're going up the John Garnier Pass. It's going to be the toughest part of the hike, and I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it, but I have a feeling it'll be really good. Just, you know, getting a good night rest today and just focusing and just completing tomorrow. Really awkward doing monologues, so peace out.
Day 5 of 7, Day of Days. We had a 5:30 AM start for a massive 22-kilometer hike today, including the 1,200-meter high John Garnier Pass. Unexpectedly, there was a lot of snow the previous night, and the mountain pass was a winter wonderland. While the clear weather was a blessing, and the pass starting sort of magical covered in a clean white, it was a full 11-hour day, and I wasn't used to walking through the snow, nor had the right equipment. Every step felt like lead, and my lungs were burning. I was probably the least prepared in my group. The trip was planned mostly on a last-minute impulse, and I had hardly trained for this. All I could do was focus on putting one foot in front of the other, again and again and again. Pain is weakness leaving the body. I've forgotten where I'd picked up that quote before, but all I could remember on October 25th, 2017 was this inner voice telling me what a stupid idea it was, but yet telling myself not to give up because I was truly blessed and grateful for the opportunity to even be here where I was. I don't remember how long it took me, but I finally made it to the top of the pass, all 1,220 meters of it. But we were barely done for the day. We descended into the tree lines, flanked by the great southern Patagonian ice field, the world's third largest glacier. It stretched on for miles and miles, making us feel small and insignificant in this wild wilderness. Descending was really harsh on your knees, and I did the rest of the 5 hours with mostly sheer mental willpower. It was torture as my legs screamed. Another great reason to stay fit, stay sharp, and stay mentally strong. The north loop across the ice field separates the O circuit from the W, and we had established that we were the only group attempting the O at that time. Apart from the rangers, we had not seen anyone at the backside of the park, and when we did finally run into our first, I remember they were all clean and shiny in their North Face jackets, and we looked pretty much like a pack of feral wolves that have just emerged from the woods. Day 6 of 7. It was supposed to be an easy transition day from grey to Paine Grande, but my body had not recovered from the previous day and was pretty much just trying to keep up. 12 kilometers didn't feel like 12 kilometers. The end of the day was great though. It was the first time in days I had access to a cabin with hot water, flush toilets, and internet. Finally able to let my family know that I was okay. Well, sort of. Day 7, the final day on the old circuit in Torres Del Paine National Park in Patagonia. Last night's stretching helped and the muscles were much better, but the knees still hurt with each descent. We had put our packs down for a day hike into the French Valley. The views were grand and we spent quite a bit of time up there. Keep close to nature's heart and break clear away once in a while and climb a mountain or spend a week in the woods. Wash your spirits clean. The mountains are calling and I must go.